Hey, how's it going?
Hey, do you hear me?
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, cool. I had some problems with the microphone or something.
Not a problem. I'm glad it's working now, and thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Well, it's great to be able to talk to you and be able to talk about some brand new music from Tungsten. Uh, yeah, I have been checking this album out every single day for about the past 2, 3 weeks now, and I just love it the more I listen to it. It's just one of the catchiest albums I've heard this year. Every single song has its own feeling behind it. I mean, whether you're going way back years ago to re-record a song or something brand new for this album, everything fits together so well while being so diverse. It's easily one of the most fun, catchy albums I've heard this year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, not a problem. So, with that in mind, what was it like to start writing for this album?
Uh, I don't quite remember when we start the writing process because it's mainly me and Carl who writes the songs, the bass player, also my brother. But we kind of never stop writing songs, so they always end up in like a Dropbox folder with. We always do too many songs for the last album we wrote, so to speak. So when it's time to plan to pick and choose songs, we all already have a bunch of songs that we can choose from, and that we felt didn't fit the last album and needed some new work on it and stuff. So some songs are actually older and some songs are completely new. So yeah, that always depends on what time in the process you are at, in a way.
And it's so good that you're constantly writing and coming up with ideas. I mean, when you have that chemistry, obviously working with your brother to be able to come up with music and you're still coming up with ideas, it's always good to flesh them out and see what could come of it, whether it's going to be on the current album, whether it's something that could be used down the line. It's always
Yeah.
good to have that creativity flowing.
It feels safe also to have if you sometimes you get this writings block or what do you call it when you can't come up with any idea at all. So then it's good to have this folder to just look at old stuff and see if something works this time around. So yeah.
Did that happen at all with this album? Well, I mean, obviously there's some older tracks on here, but was there like any writer's block that did happen on this album and you went back,
Uh,
or did you just want to be able to use older material?
Not that I remember that we have writer's block, but it depends. It's different from day to day or week for week or so. I'm not really sure if we had that this time, but yeah, so I have no really good answers to that, but that happens every now and then. So
Oh, of course. So when you have songs that are stockpiled like this, like when you have older material and you're also working on new material, how often do the songs change form from where they originally started to what it's ended up being on the album?
usually not that much at all. Actually, it's more of a producer side of the how the song is built up in a way. So sometimes we just remove the intro and or add a completely new intro to make the song go another direction. Like if we have a song that starts very hard, usually if we change anything, we usually uh, make something softer in the beginning, like a yeah, softer kind of intro or something. That's mainly the big difference between them. In some case, we just take like a little part from a chorus or a bridge or something, and the rest of the song is completely scrapped. So that also depends very much on the song and what we feel is needed for the album.
Is
So,
there any particular examples of that on this album?
uh, not that I remember right now. I know the Vantaback song, the latest single we released, was actually one of the first songs we ever written with Tungsten. It was on the in the early days when we called Strocker and did like we recorded like a test album to see if the band would have something going and so yeah, that song is almost exactly the same, I think. It's re-recorded and added some elements with keyboards and changing sounds and stuff. But as far as the songwriting is on that song, I think it's exactly the same.
So, what was it like to go that far back and take a song from that particular album and revamp it for 2024?
It didn't feel that strange actually because as I said earlier, this folder with all songs. So all the other songs from the Stroke era ended up in that folder. So I think we talked about Vanta Black like on every record since Stroker actually, but we never felt that it really was needed or suited the rest of the songs in a way. So yeah, didn't feel that strange because the task has been brought up every single writing and studio and album progression. So yeah,
Oh, well, again, I mean, it just shows that a good song is a good song, whether it ends up on the first album, whether it ends up on the latest album. It's like you never know when something's going to come back, and
yeah,
it's always
exactly.
good to have that. So that's
Yeah, but
that's just so cool to see that.
yeah, we tried it for Tundra and Bliss, I think, or maybe just Tundra or Bliss. I don't remember, but it didn't feel right that time. Something I don't know if that's with the sound or something to do with the new album or what it can be, but it felt much more fitting this in on this album. So
Oh, very cool. So, in speaking of that, how was the recording process this time around?
it was the same as we usually do. We have at Andrew's house, the drummer has an own studio, so we track the drums there, and I'm sitting by the computer and start press play and stop and say more bass drums, less bass drums, more yeah, you know, and then we send the files to me here in my home studio. So I'm finishing the tracks and mixing and mastering everything here in my apartment actually. So and Mike records his things at home in his home. So the rest is done here basically.
Oh, that's one of the great things about technology nowadays is the fact
Yeah,
that you can work them at home at your own leisure. You don't feel like you're on the clock and you're able to just be able to work out the way that you want to, whether you're using plugins, whether you're reamping, whatever the case is, when you can just sit home and be able to work on it on your own time, it's gonna make for a better quality album.
yeah, absolutely. You don't have to stress things, and like you said with plugins and stuff. I'm using this neural DSP things for guitars. We have no amps or anything, not on stage or not on recording. So everything is much easier nowadays.
And it's got to be much easier on the back when you're playing live too, since you don't have to roll all that stuff on the stage.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we never use stamps. I think I tried like one time on a festival when they had a backline amplifier, and I just plugged it in the effects loop just to feel how it was in the old days to have a tube amp and get the air pushing in your back. But it was I'm so used to this digital stuff now, so it felt a bit strange and weird actually.
Yeah, and that's always going to vary from person to person. But when you find what works for you, and especially when you have something digital like that, like you can figure out the tones that you're looking for, you can mess around with it and almost get any kind of sound that you're looking for as
Yeah,
well. The fact that you have it just in one little box rather than having to worry about like a whole amp and speaker cabinet and all that stuff. I mean, it can really help with the creativity as well.
yeah. No, it's very useful, and it's much easier and cheaper to get your gear around. So I see no negative side from it at all actually.
Oh, definitely.
I guess people that used to real amps need them in some way, and maybe are a bit afraid to change with modern technology. But I have no problems with. I like this very lot.
Yeah, for me, out in the crowd, as long as it sounds good live, I'm fine with it. I mean, as long as
Yeah,
you're playing, I mean, whether it's through a real amp, whether you're using electric drums, whatever, as long as the quality sounds good in the live setting and making sure that you have a good front of house, I'm perfectly happy for the night.
yeah. And in our case, this is probably much better if we have a lot of with these modelers. We have like the noise gates and compressors and overdrives and delay and everything. If we would have to bring all of those pedals and stuff, it would be a real hassle. And often you got like in worst case scenario, you got like 15 minutes when the band before you stops and until you're playing. So there's no time to mess with all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. The more you can
Yeah,
streamline things and make it easier on yourself physically and mentally, it's the way to go.
yeah, and I think it sounds better. I have a quad cortex now for the live thing, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it's
Oh,
easy because uh, we have different tunings and different amount of strings on some songs. So live, I just play seven string, and I use the pitch shifter to just make it in drop D instead of drop A, for instance. So then you don't have to bring two guitars in.
yeah, I was going to ask about that too, because I noticed that with the tunings and everything, but using the pitch shifter like that, I mean, that's such a great way to do it.
Yeah, and it's basically no latency. There is a slight latency, but it's not it's not hard to get used to it at all.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that once you get used to it, being able to compensate for that and the rest of the band being able to just get their ear to notice what's going on with it'll make everything easier eventually.
Yeah, and Carl, the bass player, just uh, he just drops one string from standard to drop and like this. So
Yeah, not bad at all.
no.
So, thinking about that again, like when you constantly are writing material and you have so many songs to be able to choose from, how hard is it to be able to decide what songs you want to be able to release videos for or release as singles?
I think that's a cooperation between us and the record label. What they think, I think they have a better eye and ear for what the audience probably would have the easiest to, how do you say, what they would like the most, I think. Uh, but it's a bit hard, but not that hard. Usually, like the two or three first singles, everyone is always like on the same plane. And maybe for the fourth and fifth single, there are some small fights, but nothing that bad. So, but yeah, it can be hard, but usually it's not a problem for us. We think every song is able to be a single. We don't think any songs are bad or shouldn't be as highly prioritized actually. Uh, so yeah, I think everyone could agree with any song really.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like the more that I listen to it, the more I really do feel like this way, where every song could be a single and every song could be done live, which it does feel like I'm envisioning it in my head, like as good as it sounds on the record, hearing these songs in the live setting is gonna be even better.
Yeah, yeah. We only played we played all three singles live, I think. Blood on Kings and Vantablack works very well live, and Valborg didn't at all for some reason. Oh,
Interesting. I thought that one would have worked.
yeah, the audience loved it, but we watched some videos and well, when we played it the first time, we all felt something was strange. I don't know what it is. So for us personally, playing that song felt strange, but yeah, who cares what we thought by playing? But so yeah,
So, also with that in mind, I mean, obviously, once you know what the singles are going to be, being able to make the videos, I think it's such a cool aspect that you guys care so much about, like making very fun videos. I mean, whether it's something more lighthearted, whether it's something a little more serious, I really love the diversity of the videos for the singles released so
yeah,
far.
thank you. Yeah, I'm the one filming and editing and producing the videos, so I think we have much easier to get our own ideas go through, so to speak.
So,
Uh, and
so are you also
we
come?
don't. Sorry.
I was gonna say, are you also the one that's like coming up with the ideas for the videos as well, or is that like a band effort?
Yeah, all of the bands comes with ideas, and we try to make. And I try to see what's doable with the stuff I had, and we yeah, but it's we were yeah the diversity. We felt like for Blood on the Kings, for instance, it's more of a typical how do you say it? Not power metal, but this new genre with Viking theme metal. And the obvious thing would be to have a lot of Vikings and axes and some kind of yeah Viking fight going on or something. But that is so done already in some ways. So we try to do the completely opposite to make something that doesn't have anything with the song to do at all. So it's more like watching a movie, and that's also because we're doing that in the video as well. So it's like a bad idea, but it turned out pretty cool. So
I thought it really worked. I mean, sometimes it's nice to go against expectations and just do something that seems a little more fun like that. And having it in a movie theater like that, being able to show everyone in the band in a different aspect like that, I thought it was a really cool idea.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, we wanted to try something to not do a performance video as well, but we play a little bit in the end of it, but mainly was focused on the doing some kind of character stuff, and we never really tried that out. So it was a fun experience, and we're pretty glad that it turned out well. We could go like crap, but no, it was okay.
So thinking about that when you are behind the camera and when you're also sitting in the studio editing everything together, like how much uh, effort of a process is it to get everything together? Have you figured out like how to streamline it now, or is it like a lot of extra effort to put that together?
It's still a learning process for sure. Basically I feel like every time I start a project, I feel like I don't know anything really. But I don't know. I think it's hard, but also I think it's so much fun in a way. So yeah, when I'm starting to editing a video, I don't stop at all. I work like 12 hours straight for depending how long the video is going to edit. But yeah, I basically never stop when I start, so until it's done. So
Well, I gotta say again, I really appreciate the quality effort that goes into it. I mean, whether it is the editing, whether it's the cameras that you're using, whether it's the ideas in front of the camera, like all the videos that have been released so far, I think really do match up and have a great diversity for the album because the album does have so many great ideas and diversity in the musical sounds and the lyrical content and everything. And I think that just really matches up together quite well.
oh, thank you, thank you. That was also a main reason why I started do videos because it costs and it's very expensive and time consuming to get a hired guy to do it. So we thought I'm gonna try my best. I bought like a medium good camera, or how do you say it, some Nikon's thing. And I think it was for the first video I did for, I think there was a song Tundra, or I don't know, I can't remember. But eventually I got kind of get the hang to it. So we bought a really good camera uh, to put all the money on that for one record, and then we can do videos ourselves instead of hiring a guy for every video that's gonna cost like 10 times more anyway. So that was mainly the reason to how I get interested in this.
Oh, sure. And I also got to mention that helps with the creativity as well, too, because you're not just focused on writing the songs, writing the parts, everything together. You're also able to expand other forms of your creativity as well when you are editing and shooting and everything that goes
Mhm.
into that.
Yeah, exactly.
So also, when it goes into the visualization of everything, I really find the album cover this time around so striking. I think it fits the album so well, and it just has like a really great prominent feel behind it. And I just imagine when you look at the vinyl version of it, it's just gonna look so cool. Where did that come from?
Usually we have let Andreas Marshall do our cover arts for the past albums, but he actually did the single one for Volvo as well. I think the plan was to use that as the album cover in the beginning, but then when we switched to a new label, they wanted it to renew our art in some way. So uh, that it's actually a close friend of ours that made the album cover for yeah for the singles except Valborg.
So when you started working with him, like, did you give him any ideas of what you're looking for, or did you just leave it up to him to come up with it, or how did that come together?
No, we said we wanted something the most important thing was to have the color red actually, because all the other albums is like blue and greenish, and we want something to be completely new in just a visualization of seeing the album directly. So and the album name is Grand Inferno, so it feels like an inferno with fire and lava and stuff. So yeah, that was basically the guidelines we gave him. So yeah, and also of course have the Wolfram or mascot in the middle in some way. So and making yeah, like it's you can see it as a new era of Tungsten. That was only the guidelines really.
Oh, very cool. So, you already did mention it a little bit, but of course, being on a new label this time around with Reigning Phoenix Music, how has it been working with them so far?
Yeah, it has been great, really great. It's always kind of nerving, nerve-wracking to change labels and stuff you work with. Uh, but these guys are like a super team from best of the best labels has now made a super group. So it's people from AFM and Nuclear Blast, and yeah, it's been very easy to work with them, and they really understand us, and we understand them, and yeah, great guys. Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to see you guys a part of the roster, considering what roster they do have right now. Seeing Tungsten amongst all of that, I mean, that's just so cool to see that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's a good fit for us. The last record label we had, there's nothing wrong with them at all. They were really good too, but they're more mainly into this metalcore and hardcore thing, and yeah, it didn't feel like we suited in that roster anymore. So
Yeah, and again, like I've mentioned before, when it comes to the diversity, I mean, there's a great diversity with Phoenix music, and seeing like with this particular album, I mean, whether you're going like super heavy, whether you're going more mainstream, more dancey, industrial, poppy, I mean, there's everything that you're looking for. There's something on this album, and when you have a label that matches that as well, it's a great combination.
mm, yeah, yeah, exactly.
So again, with the album coming out in a little over 2 months now, uh, is there any other plans besides the release of the album for 2024, or are you just focusing everything on 2025, or what's going on next?
Yeah, we're gonna release two more singles before the album drops, and next thing is a Scandinavian tour with Sonata Arctica now in September, I think. Yeah, September. And then we have a show in January in Sweden that I can't really talk about. I just remember. But we have something in January. And then main focus will be on touring and festivals in Europe in 2025. So we have played a lot in, not a lot, but all the major festivals here in Sweden, but we haven't really gotten out in Europe yet. So that will be the main focus.
Oh, very cool. And
And keep writing music, of course.
oh,
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, like we talked about in the beginning. I mean, when you got the creativity and the chemistry and everything that's going on where you want to be able to write songs, take advantage of that all you can. But, also the fact that you got on such a cool bill, like being able to open for Sonata coming up next month and planning everything out for the festival circuit next year and all the stuff that will eventually you'll be able to talk about. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of great things that's going on in your world right now.
yeah, yeah. Really looking forward to it. Things starts to roll now, so yeah, I'm very excited.
So, thinking about that a little bit deeper, I mean, what is it like for you to be being on a tour and doing a support slot compared to like doing a festival date, compared to a headline? Like, how is it for the band, like being able to put together the set list, putting the imagery on stage, all of that? Like, how are you able to shift when you have these different opportunities come along?
Yeah, you don't really have a choice then to shift, actually. But I think one thing is when you're an opening band on tour, you have a much shorter set. So then you really have to pick out what songs. you think should be played at that tour. But mainly it's the hit songs, or how do you call it? Festivals you can do, yeah, pretty much more things, some live things, and uh, more integration with the audio, and have longer intros and stuff. But when you're on the opening slot for a tour, you have to be quick and precise, and like do the best you think can with the time you got. So
Oh, definitely. And like we were talking about before, I mean, the fact that yeah, you guys already have that figured out, like when it not using amps and cabs and just being able to get everything through the DI or through XFX or whatever you're using, you're able to just go up on the stage, make sure everything sounds good, and you can get right to playing. I mean, especially when you're doing those opening sets, every second matters, and you want to be able to give the best set you possibly can without feeling like you're burdened by the clock. So I'm glad that you guys had that all dialed in.
uh, usually on tour though, that's not really a problem. You might have short time to sound check, but when you have your sound check, everything still uh, is on the stage as you left it. So basically, you can hassle and do it all day if you want to in some way, but on festivals that's much harder. As you said, it's like you have to be quick, and you have no times to check in-ears or monitor sounds on, and that's okay. Like on festivals, when you play early, like first on one more stage, or they have like three stages and no band plays at the same time. Then if you're lucky, you can get like an hour. So that's very nice when that happens.
Oh, I can definitely imagine. But yeah, until that happens again with the festival circuits, I mean, again, it sounds like there's so many cool things that are going on. And of course, the new album from Tungsten coming out the 18th through October through Raining Phoenix Music. Like I talked about in the beginning, I've been listening to this album every single day, just really appreciating what you guys are doing on this album. It continuously feels like you're finding what really makes the band work with every subsequent album, and it's got me excited for the future whenever new music comes out after this one. I'm already excited for that, but until then, I can't wait for everyone to hear this in October and seeing all the great live shows you're going to be able to do to promote this album on the album circuit and everything. It's just so cool to see all that, and I thank you again so very much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Yeah, no problem at all. But
Before we,
by the way, which song do you think is the best?
that it actually changes every day. Like
Okay, that's
I
good.
yeah, sometimes it's Angel Eyes for me. Sometimes I feel like Lullaby would have been a fantastic single. I'm not sure if that's going to be one of the last two singles, but I also felt like that would have been an
It's
incredible
gonna be a
single.
single.
Oh,
We're gonna release it now on now on Friday, so in 2 days.
what amazing timing! I had no idea about that. It's
Yeah,
just when I kept hearing that one, I felt like that would be such a great song to incorporate into the live setting because I feel like the whole crowd would be able to channel out that chorus.
yeah,
But
it's an easy song to grasp, and they have a strong melody. So yeah, that's one of the songs that everybody in the band, including the record label, felt directly that this that has to be a song single. So
oh, definitely. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything.
no,
Before
thank
we
you.
wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
Uh, no, I don't think so. Yeah, it's gonna be a good album.
Oh,
18th
definitely.
of October. So
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to show off this interview and doing the album review when it gets closer to release date. But yeah, one last time,
okay.
thank you so very much for taking the time to do this. It was awesome to get your insight into everything and learn a little bit more about how tungsten works and functions. I'm always interested in that kind of stuff, and it was cool to be able to learn about that. And it was great
Oh,
being able to
thanks.
talk to you. I can't wait to show this off, and I hope you have a great rest of the night.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yeah, bye.